The weather may change, the seasons may change, daylight savings time may go away, weather may get colder this weekend. You might need to get that winter gear out in earnest this weekend. All of that is true. But one thing that doesn't change is every Thursday morning at 9 a.m., we bring you Our Town right here on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. My name is Darren Swenson, the host of the program. The sponsor of the program, as always, is Decorah Bank and Trust. A little later on in the program, we'll talk with Brian Huinker with Assured Partners in Decorah. A lot of things going on with the health insurance exchange here in 2025 for 2026. We will break it all down with Brian as best that we can. Also, coming up this weekend, the Wolfpack Theater Group will have their presentation of Beetlejuice. We'll talk to Brian, Lydia, and Keaton, as well as Adam Hooten from the Wolfpack Theater Group on that end of things. It's Wellness Weekend for the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce. We'll have a conversation with Jessica Rilling to discuss Wellness Weekend. But today, that's right, today is Winter Weather Awareness Day in the state of Iowa. And to give us a few reminders of things to do to get ready for winter because it's coming sooner than we think. Mike Kurz is with us from the National Weather Service in La Crosse. Mike will bat lead off on this week's edition of Our Town. It's brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust, and you're listening to it on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. Today in the state of Iowa is Winter Weather Awareness Day. We don't want it to come too soon, but we know it can come soon. And here to talk about Winter Weather Awareness Day is Mike Kurz. He is with the National Weather Service in La Crosse. And Mike, in general, what are some winter weather safety things that we need to keep in mind as Mother Nature will wear her cold head here in the not too distant future?
Yeah, it's a good reminder to be ready because things can change so suddenly in winter weather. So there's so many things that we need to adjust for, not only on the road, but at home as well. Basically, you just want to be prepared, monitor the forecast. That's the most important thing as you go through the winter months so you can be ready for what's expected to come. But on the road, you need to adjust your driving habits. We all go through that adjustment period with the first couple snow events, especially the first one of the season, where it's, we got to slow down. That's the biggest thing. We can't go flying along on the roads, on the highways. So slowing down, increasing your braking distance between the vehicle ahead of you is so important, so that you have enough time. It takes a much longer distance to come to a full stop when there's snow or ice on the roads. Um, and also preparing, if you're going to be going on any kind of length of travel, it's a good idea to have a preparedness kit in your car. So have enough warm clothes, have a blanket, have a shovel, flashlights, have your cell phone and charger, just so that you're prepared. Those kinds of things to think about, letting people know ahead of time when you're leaving, when you expect to arrive, so that you can be safe. And at home, just going around, making sure your home is winterized and ready. Have those smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms in good working order. Make sure the batteries are fresh. And just being ready when the storm comes, having enough water on hand, food, medications in case you can't get out the next day or for a couple days or so. A lot of things to get ready as winter comes on the doorstep here.
And related to cold weather and dangerous wind chills, I know the advisories, if I remember correctly, changed a little bit from the National Weather Service last year. Why don't you give us a reminder of how you're going to alert people when it's literally freezing and beyond this year?
Yeah. Yeah, so traditionally we've issued what were termed the wind chill headlines or wind chill advisory, wind chill watch, wind chill warning. Wind chill has not gone away. However, we wanted to emphasize that even when there is no wind, extreme cold can be dangerous. And so while it's wind chill is still part of our vernacular and we will still use that terminology, we've rebranded our headlines for these situations to a cold weather advisory or an extreme cold watch or warning. And that's just because, in the past, if we were to issue one of those wind chill headlines, it required a minimum wind speed. Without wind, there is technically no wind chill. And so we wanted to emphasize that even if it's calm outside, if it's 25 below or colder, that's still dangerous. And so that's why we emphasize that wind or not, cold is cold. It's very dangerous. And so we're still referencing wind chill, but if there's no wind, the actual temperature is basically what that feels like outside. If there is wind, obviously it does feel colder. But there is that headline change that we incorporated last winter, and that will continue this winter as well.
And when it comes to preparing for winter weather, is now the time to do so before Mother Nature rears her ugly head?
It's a good time to start. You don't have to necessarily have everything in order and get your home preparedness kit in order just now. But it is a good time to keep it in mind. Maybe you want to start checking your snowblower, making sure it's ready to go for the season. But I do recommend, making sure that your car kit is in order. Have that scraper, the shovel ready. Making sure that you just have those resources handy for when the time comes. But winterizing your home right now is really a good time to get that done. Seal it up from drafts coming in. Make sure your heating system is operating well and safely. Make sure that you have those carbon monoxide detectors. Those are critical, and smoke alarms just for your safety every day of the year.
And touching back on the cold weather end of things, what are maybe some of the first signs we need to keep in mind if people get frostbite or anything that damages skin in cold weather? What are some things that people need to keep in mind to avoid those situations if they have to be outside?
Yeah, remember that frostbite and hypothermia, those are really dangerous situations, and they can come upon you more quickly than you might think. So when it's extremely cold outside, frostbite can start developing within 30 minutes if precautions aren't taken. Sometimes, depending on the conditions, it could come on within 10 minutes or so of being outside with unprotected skin. So wear those gloves, making sure that your head is covered with a hat and a scarf, and your ears. Those outer extremities, your ears, your nose, your fingers and toes, those are the first ones to start to lose that warm circulation when you're in those extremely cold environments. And so you want to make sure to take special precautions to keep those extremities warm. And hypothermia is a very dangerous situation where your body temperature has dropped below what it normally should be, your core temperature. And so that you need to start raising your core body temperature sufficiently soon. You don't want to do it dramatically all at once. So you don't want to just plop into a hot bath or something that can be very dangerous for your systems. So you want to just warm it gradually. Put warm blankets over a person. Don't immerse them in water, but just put warm blankets on them. Warm the extremities gradually so that it's not a sudden change in temperature that goes straight to your heart. That could be dangerous.
As for your winter safety kit that you put in your car, what should that all include?
Shovel, you want to also have something for traction in case you would get stuck. So sand or kitty litter, just a bucket of that is a good idea. Having non-perishable food items, granola bars, something high protein, high energy that can help you out in case you're stranded. You also want to have a source of water as well. So, you may not want to keep water in your car all winter long because it'll freeze eventually, but make sure if you're going for any substantial drive that you bring along some water as well. Your cell phone should be fully charged. Bring along your charger as well. Things like that. A blanket is important also. Maybe even some flares or road safety signal in case you'd get stranded in a snowstorm. Never want to leave your vehicle if you were to get stranded on the highway. That can, especially in a blizzard, In those rural parts on the highways outside of towns in northeast Iowa, we often can see blizzard conditions from time to time when the wind is really whipping. And you don't want to venture out from your car in those situations. You're safer staying inside your vehicle then.
And as for staying informed and being as ready as you can be and being prepared based on the forecast that your organization gives or any other media source gives, what do you recommend on that end of things?
Yeah, you want to be sure to monitor the forecast because with winter storms, when we're looking out days in advance, it's not going to play out exactly what we're seeing 4 or 5 days in advance. So the forecast does change as we get closer in time. Our confidence gradually grows. We are able to discern more of the specific details of how that weather event is expected to unfold. And so it's usually not until we get within 24 hours or so that we really get a good handle on how much snow is expected. So always a good idea to monitor the forecast every day to see what's expected. And, if there's ice in the forecast, freezing rain, that should be especially monitored closely because any amount of ice on the road, even just a glaze, can be very dangerous for motor vehicles.
I know people do put out predictions for winters from season to season. I mean, they're fun to look at. They're fun to play around with, and sometimes fun to mock and ridicule from our end of things. But at the same time, when it comes to forecasting, is there a way where you can predict a season in advance with any form of accuracy, or is it something that anything beyond 5 to 7 days, is it kind of a crapshoot?
Sure. So it's important to understand those are kind of two different things. A lot
Okay.
of times people say, well, you can't even forecast the weather for tomorrow, correct? How can you know what the winter's going to bring, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking weather and climate. Climate is long-term forecasting. So even seasonal forecasting, when we're looking ahead at winter, that's a whole different beast than just looking at the weather forecast over the next 7 days, right? So with winter forecasting, there's broader things that come into play. We're looking at more global weather patterns, global, even ocean circulations have an impact on that. So if you've heard of El Nino or La Nina, those are kinds of the global scale flow patterns in the atmosphere and the oceans that climate scientists will monitor in order to forecast or give an expectation of maybe roughly how the season will pan out. So, we can't get detailed and say this season we're looking at X amount of inches of snowfall likely in the area, and it's going to be, so many days below zero. Obviously, the science is not that advanced. We can't get that accurate. But with certain things in mind and looking at some of these global scale phenomena and even shorter scale facets that we look at for even maybe not predictable until 1 to 2 weeks out from that time point. A lot of things come into play when we're dealing with seasonal forecasts that can really make it very complicated. But that's outside my realm of expertise. I'm a weather forecaster. I just look 7 days out, but there are some very skilled climate forecasters out there who can look at the upcoming winter. And NOAA's official climate outlook for this winter would be for trending more on the cold side, maybe a little bit below normal in terms of overall temperatures for the season. And with precipitation, there's really no strong signal right now. The biggest driving factor this winter is going to be a weak La Nina that's already in play. And as we go through the winter, it's going to continue to weaken. So a lot of different factors at play that make it very difficult and challenging to forecast the season.
And when you're going with that seasonal forecast, the folks that study the climate end of things, is it easier to forecast a winter than a summer, or the factors you just touched on, does that give you an educated guess no matter what the season is?
That's a great question, actually. We don't get asked that one often, but it's really a great question because winter time, the forcing tends to be stronger on the global scale pattern. And so like the El Nino and La Nina, those tend to play out stronger during the winter months than they would with impacts over, say, the summer months. Their influence over the summer months are not nearly as pronounced. So during the winter, it tends to be more pronounced, more impactful on our global pattern, and even locally here in the upper Midwest. So the factors are more forecastable, if that's a word, during the winter months than, say, over the summer months.
Anything else we need to know about winter awareness that we haven't touched on yet this morning?
I would caution folks just to be mindful on social media, on Facebook and X and so forth. There's a lot of rumors that can start in terms of weather forecasts with big storms, say, on the horizon. And some people will go and they'll say that they're a weather expert or even proclaim to be a meteorologist. And they'll put out, one model forecast, one snippet of time looking out 7 days or more in advance and showing, hey, look, this model shows a big winter storm coming or a blizzard coming. Keep in mind that we don't always know the background of these individuals. And while they may be doing it just for gee whiz, some of them might be looking for attention as well. So look at trusted sources, reputable sources for your online weather forecasts. There's a reason why the National Weather Service generally isn't going to go out 7 days in advance and say, we've got a big winter storm coming up, because there's so much uncertainty that looms that far out in the period. So that's why we're usually starting to really advertise it, 3-4 days out. Maybe if there were high confidence, we might go a little bit further out than that. But generally, we try to be reasonable with when we start to announce these, because things change quickly during the winter weather. The forecast can change very rapidly, and you might end up with nothing from something that looked like a big deal 7 days out.
But NWS Lacrosse on Twitter and Facebook, that's the place you should go, right?
We encourage folks to do that. Yep, follow us. Follow your local TV meteorologist. They also know the area that they're forecasting for and all the nuances and terrain features and things like that, all the local impacts for your area.
Mike, appreciate the time, the information as always. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Mike Kurz with the National Weather Service in La Crosse. It's Winter Weather Awareness Day in the state of Iowa. Coming up this weekend, it is the third annual Wellness Weekend in Decorah, put together by the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce, and Chamber Executive Director Jessica Rilling joining us. And Jessica, tell us about the Wellness Weekend. What's the goal? What's the purpose?
Yeah, we started this as a way to help lift up wellness businesses in the area, and also celebrate that we live in a place with a lot of opportunity for exercise and wellness. So our earliest conversations about when to have a weekend that we could showcase this, we talked to a lot of our chamber members, and then also folks who weren't chamber members, and just said, like, what time of year do you think might be a good time of year for celebrating wellness? And everybody liked the idea of this transition into winter. So that's why we have it when we're having it, as an opportunity to showcase wellness businesses. And then it's dark early now. We have a lot of conversations about staying healthy in the winter months. And so this seemed like a nice way to transition into that season, where we remind everybody all of the services and products and opportunities that are here. So it's been really fun. We have November 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's this weekend, like you said. That is really that celebration, recognition, and awareness of all the opportunities. So the Chamber has put together a list of things that folks can go and do, but we also want to encourage everyone to just use it as an opportunity to do small things as well. So if you've needed to make an appointment with the dentist, or if you might benefit from a walk outside, that's all part of being healthy here in Decorah. So those are great ways to celebrate, but we also have a nice list of events, learning opportunities, product sales. that folks can browse on the website and participate in if it's the right fit for them.
And what are some of the events that will be going on? I know there's quite a few things going on. Why don't you give us some of the highlights?
Yeah, absolutely. So the full list we have on the DecorahAreaChamber.com. Some of the ones that I'll mention from an event standpoint, probably one of the biggest events is the Wenatchee County Celebration of Life. They do an annual fundraiser, and that's on Friday night. You can still get tickets for that. If folks aren't familiar with that group, it's about cancer awareness and prevention. And I think the group that they're bringing in for music is rock and roll themed. So a wonderful cause to support, and they serve a lot of people in Decorah and Wenatchee County area and beyond. Farmers Market has their first indoor market. That's Saturday morning at the Dan and Lansing building, 9 to noon. And they usually pull in, there's different vendors that come in for those winter markets. And there are 4 altogether. This is the first one. There is Sunday Drift Yoga has a dry try, which is basically like a combination event. You can run or walk, do strength training, and do yoga. And I think they include a smoothie from Impact as part of that. That's an event you would register for, kind of a playing on that triathlon idea, like 3 different things, but can be a run or walk, strength training, and yoga. So a lot of people, I think, still maybe haven't gone into Salou, which is a sauna and wellness studio right in the heart of Decorah. It's beautiful. And this is a good weekend for that. We encourage wellness businesses to have open houses in case people maybe haven't come in yet. And they're doing that. So they've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday opportunities. If folks haven't been in to see the sauna rooms and they want to, Friday's a good day for that. Saturday is a good day if you want to hear the owner, Katie Schweinefest, talk about the benefits of sauna and some of the other wellness tools they have there. And she has a talk at 10:30 in the morning. This is the one for you, I think, Darren. There's the Well at Crater Fitness is doing a Shine Dance Fitness with Robin, and it's only $5 on Friday. And that one sounds really fun to me. So, dance fitness, not as serious maybe as other kinds of fitness, but equally effective.
Well, we
have I sold you?
I don't know if anyone, as long as it's not a spectator sport, I think I'll be okay on that end of things. But I think a weekend like this just kind of epitomizes all of the local businesses that are about your well-being and taking care of yourself and self-care and everything like that. And there's probably more of those businesses in the Decorah area than would meet the eye off the top of your head. Would you agree?
I would agree. Absolutely. Yes. For the size that Decorah is, we have an extraordinary number of wellness businesses. We're also really blessed and lucky to have so many providers, and they're included in this as well. So Oneota Valley Family Eye Care is one of the sponsors for the weekend, and they use the opportunity usually to have some educational piece and also a sale. I think that Friday they have an opportunity to come in if people haven't met the optometrist there. Ashley will be talking about low light therapy. I think people, we always just think about glasses or no glasses, but your eyes health does matter, and they're really good about including that as part of what you're learning when you're in there. The Westside Dental has a special for current patients. Chiropractic offices for Dr. Kelly Reagan is talking about foot health. So, really just like broad wellness, right? There are things we do routinely or should be doing routinely, and then things we do to learn more and be healthy. So we've even got a Vitality Wellness Coaching is doing a stress response talk, which was really interesting to me. I think talking about like when we are stressed, when our body is stressed, better understanding what our body specifically does and the best ways to manage that. Chronic stresses, has a real impact on the body. So another opportunity again to learn. That's a Saturday talk at 2:00 at the Landing. And then, of course, we have an extraordinary number of trails here. Decorah has a really high number of trails and public areas for the size of town. And like I said earlier, if this weekend is about getting out too and enjoying fresh air, sunlight, we still have a lot of color on the trees. A good weekend to move your body and enjoy Decorah. So.
And what's most interesting to me about this weekend is the educational aspect, because I think most people know the self-care, the wellness stuff, the surface level things, but there's so many things that you can do, again, more than meets the eye, that you can learn about this weekend. And these businesses are giving you opportunities to do simple things that can make you a healthier and a happier person.
Yeah, I think it's nice to have that opportunity to learn a little bit and see if it's something you can add into your life or what's helpful for you. So it's a really dynamic lineup of things happening. Wellness in all its forms. So and we just really encourage people to go to decorahareachamber.com and look at all the different offerings and see if any of those sound interesting or fun. So yeah, thanks for saying that. It's you're never too old to learn something new about your body or the town you live in.
And no doubt about it. And I'm not as smart as I was in my early 20s, but it's good to open up your mind and learn new things as you get older and you get more experienced and gain some wisdom on that end of things. Anything we're missing about Wellness Weekend? Anything else you want to pass on to the public about Wellness Weekend or the Chamber in general?
Well, I guess I would just say that the Chamber is really happy to be promoting that wellness sector. Like I said, we talked a lot about the best way to do that. And so many of our small businesses are open, by appointment only. But you mentioned how many we have, and we really do we have a lot of choices for yoga and Pilates and places to go exercise and move, as well as all those practitioners who are, helping to keep our bodies healthy all the time. So I guess this is another way to be connected to community and to support small business. Do something for yourself. Learn a little bit more about maybe even just a really small thing that might help you be healthier for longer.
All right, never a bad thing to look out for number one. Jessica, we appreciate your time as always, and probably be chatting with you on the holiday shopping season gets into full gear here in a couple of weeks. As always, thanks for the time, and thanks for you and everybody at the Chamber for what you do for our community.
Well, thanks for having me.
Jessica Rilling from the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce. It's Wellness Weekend this weekend in Decorah. Always fun catching up with the folks from the Wolfpack Theater Group. Beetlejuice going to be performing this weekend. It's the only production that you will see in the community of Waukon this fall. Let's talk to the three individuals that we have from Wolfpack Theater Group. Let's go from in any direction that you choose. Let's state your name and what role you'll have in the production this weekend.
My name is Keaton Hitchcock, and I'm playing Adam Maitland. Honestly, my favorite character.
I'm Lydia. I'm Patty. I play Lydia Dietz. I get really into character, that's for sure.
I'm Brandon Wise, and I play the guy Beetlejuice. Oh yeah.
The star of the show. Keaton, we'll go with you next. What's been the most fun part about this production?
Honestly, just working with everybody is just so fun in general. So honestly, I think that's the funnest out of all of it.
And Lydia, would you agree with what Keaton just said?
Yes, I would agree on what he has said, especially meeting with the little kids. They are very crazy a lot of the time, but that what's make the show fun.
And Brian, are you guys crazy as the little kids though? And does that make it fun?
Sometimes we are. Not all the time, but sometimes.
So, how do you go about deciding what production you're going to do in the certain seasons? We'll ask that to you, Keaton.
So basically during like when we're actually practicing for like the one we're doing now, we usually decide because we usually put up like things like if they want to do this, that's if we get it. So basically we just put up a poster, we tally marks. So that's how we decide because yeah, it's just easier.
Yeah, democracy in action. Lydia, how long have you been working to make sure everything's going to be as good as it possibly can be coming up this weekend?
About 3 months.
And Brian, Brian, how often do you practice?
6 months. 6 months, say it.
All right, it's about 6 months we've been working for. God damn it, I can't do this.
There you go, baby. There you go, baby.
Always good to have the cue card guy, Mr. Adam Hooten, behind the scenes there. Take us through the schedule of the production here this weekend. Keaton, what's the schedule and how can folks get tickets?
Sorry, can you repeat that question one more time?
No problem. Take us through the production schedule this weekend. When are you going to be performing and how folks can get tickets? Where are you going to be performing, etc.? Where can we see it perform?
Walk On Town Theater. I believe we get our tickets on a website. I do not know that website. You're gonna have
But I do. Wolfpack Theater Company.ludus.com.
All right.
But basically, it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 7:30 to let's say 9-ish. But yeah, it's gonna be loads of fun. So if I were a person that wasn't in this, I would definitely go.
And why is that, Keaton?
Why is that? Why do you think it's fun?
Why would you go if you weren't in it?
Well, honestly, we have posters put up everywhere around town.
Well said, Lydia. Give the folks a invitation this weekend to come and enjoy the talented people of the Wolfpack Theater Group.
Huh?
Come and give us an invitation for the folks to come this weekend. Tell us why they should come and enjoy the show.
You guys are all welcome to come to the show. You can pay at the door or online, and it's just a great show. There's a lot of great actors, and a lot of people know the story, but it's different from all of the movies. So you don't actually know the story, you just know the premise. And it is family friendly. Sometimes.
And there's big dances.
And how many of those?
How many big dances?
Yeah.
I say there's at least 4 dances.
About 6.
6 or 7.
Well done, very well done there, Lydia. Getting up with the culture times. And Brian, how many folks are involved in this show overall?
32 people are in this.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
A lot of little kids.
I can't even count that high.
Half our cast is little kids.
More than half.
And it's good to see folks of all ages that can get involved in the Wolfpack Theater Group. Again, the presentation, Walk On this weekend, 7:30 Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. Wolfpack Theater Group at Lotus.com. Is that the right website, Adam?
It sure is. Wolfpack Theater Company.ludus.com.
There we go. You can get your tickets online. You can get your tickets at the door as well. We want to thank Keaton and Lydia.
Plenty of walk-in tickets as well. Just come on in. We'll always have a seat for you. We turn no one away at the Wolfpack.
All right. We want to thank Keaton, Lydia, and Brian, and of course, Adam for joining us to tell us all about the Wolfpack Theater Group. It's the only presentation you'll see in Walk On this year. It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Be there. You will be entertained by the 32 talented folks who will help put on the production. Well, open enrollment on the health insurance exchange has started. And when we talk open enrollment on the health insurance exchange, we talk to our friend Brian Huinker with Assured Partners in Decorah. And Brian, the start of this year's health insurance exchange a little different than last year's, from what I understand, in previous years, for that matter. Explain.
Yeah, actually, we're just back to essentially the original Obamacare. The extended subsidies were in place here for the last 4 or 5 years. So I'll tell you, there's an incredible amount of, I don't know if it's disinformation or cherry picking of examples or half truths, because I would tell you about anything that you've heard is probably true. Um, but it's oftentimes in very kind of unique or unique income situations.
And how do you decide? How does it get decided how much of a subsidy one person gets as compared to the other person gets? How good of a plan some person can get as compared to another person? Deductibles, etc. What's that process like? And a reminder, we probably only have about 10 or 15 minutes to explain everything.
Yeah. Um, the subsidy is based on the second least expensive plan, silver plan in your market. So essentially the government or the algorithm will figure that out, and they will assign a subsidy to you based on your age, family size, and income. And so each county is different. Like Fayette County, for example, had a Ambet, or a new company, come into the market and kind of undercut pricing, which you would think is a positive. Um, but they have a very narrow network with only Mercy systems and limited experience in Iowa. Um, so that actually a less expensive company coming into the market made some of the plans and the most popular plans more expensive um, for Fayette. So there's a lot of nuances that go into it.
How many plans are available for folks? How many companies are on the market for folks in our area? And does it vary from county to county, as you just mentioned?
It definitely varies from county to county. Anywhere from two companies in Winneshiek and Almaquis. I believe Howard County maybe has three now. Chickasaw and Fayette have five. Um, Generally speaking, for the consumer, it again it's so counter. This thing is so complicated. Um, less companies is better, because the when the cheaper companies move in with skinnier plans, most of our folks don't want to take those plans. They want to be able to go. Well, I use this phrase loosely. They want to see the doctor that they want to see, but it's of course has to be in Iowa. We don't have a plan that you can go to Mayo. But to your other point, the plans themselves are pretty darn similar. They've got gold, silver, and bronze tiers that have generally the same benefits. It's really about network, who you can see, and then it ultimately comes down to price/subsidy.
I guess this is the hard thing for people like me to understand. And as you very well know, I'm not that bright. Why can people 20 miles from Decorah have an option of three plans? People 40 miles from Decorah have an option of five plans, but like in Decorah and Walk On, you only have an option of two companies. How can, in such a small area, there be such a big difference in availability?
Yep. It has to do with the hospital providers in your county. So like in New Hampton, they have a Mercy provider, and in Fayette they do with with the O-line facility. So Ambetter and Oscar, why you would name a healthcare company after a stuffed animal that lives in a trash can, I'd never know. But those two plans, because they have Mercy facilities in the county, are allowed to sell their narrow networks there. And I go back to Darren, just how crazy this is. Like the people in Winneshiek and Alameda County are begging those companies not to come here. We want less options because it ruins your subsidy because you're never going to take that plan. And the other thing that we get, we're a weekend, your vine gets blowing. I quote somebody last night that their plan's $262. Well, what happens when my wife retires in April? Well, now your plan goes to zero. Wait a second. My wife's coming on the plan like it's going to go up. Is it going to be 500? No, it's going to be zero. You get more credits, more subsidy, the more people that are on your plan. So a lot of this stuff is bizarro to common sense, and I don't blame you. You're one of the smartest people that I ever went to daycare with.
Well, there was there's a wide bucket there. To be honest with you.
Yes, Diane
So,
did a heck of a job.
yeah, and God bless her for dealing with people like you and me every day.
Absolutely.
But on that end of things, when it comes to the cost of plans, and I know we're early on in the exchange this year, what are you seeing when it comes to cost as compared to this year?
Yeah, again, county by county, quite a variance in our counties. Generally, well, like I can assure you of this, at this point with where the government is, the biggest thing for listeners to understand, if you fall above 400% of the poverty line, so that's 84,000. If you make $84,600, quoted a couple this week. Last year they paid $267. This year they make $1 too much. They're going to pay $19,000 annually. So if the amount of subsidy making $1 too much, if you fall over the cliff, it can be a $20,000 to $25,000 hit.
Can
So
I ask why?
yeah, that they 400%. That's what Obamacare originally was. This was always in place that your subsidy was stopped at 400% of the poverty line. So that for a household of two, if you make 86,400, you're subsidy eligible. You're going to get depending on your age, you're going to get a very healthy subsidy. But if you make $1 more, you pay full price, no subsidy. So it's, our tax preparers, our investment people, big, big deal.
So it's one of those interesting things, and I know you and I have discussed this before, is like with a lot of things in business, you try to apply free market principles to these business decisions, and that's the number one mistake a lot of people make in these conversations, right?
Yeah, it's it's complex, that's for sure. We were approached by a company this summer. There's some other plans out in the market that we know, and you've read the national stats that they expect 6-7 million people to drop insurance. We've got some products that will more or less cover you in the catastrophic event of any sort of accident, whether that's you're a roofer and you fall off the roof and break your back, you get in a car accident, you get cancer, heart attack, stroke. We've got some catastrophic plans that are quite a bit less expensive that we're hoping to, get the word out. It's certainly not health, true health insurance, but it'll cover, situations where you're not going to go bankrupt if you get into a car accident or, have a slip on the ice and hit your head and you're in the hospital for 2 weeks.
How is the group market dynamic related to this? Is that changing at the same rate, or is there so many different dynamics to the group market that it's really a different conversation?
Yeah, good question. I mean, the group, this was our worst year overall for our groups, just in terms of general increase. They're depending on the size of the business, they may be rated on your health, on their health and their claims. If you're a larger business over 50, if you have under 50 employees, you likely are on an age rated plan, and we're looking at double digit increases on most things, which is crazy. Like, I mean, the stuff's, it's nuts. You're paying, your employer slash employee are paying, $30,000 a year for a family plan. Like, that's $15 an hour. That's nuts. And it's going to double in 6 years. So you wonder why we can't get raises, or it's just, hate to be negative, but the model's certainly unsustainable.
And you and I have discussed this before. You can pump a lot of money into health insurance subsidies and premiums and everything like that. Until you do something to control the actual cost, this thing is going to be a train running down the tracks with no brakes, right?
That's exactly right. And that would be the fiscal argument would be, yeah, people, it's disappointing. People, the extra subsidies got stripped. Well, what do you do? Then next year, do you do extra subsidy? Like, they're not addressing the problem, and they're just trying to keep votes so they can go to Washington and not work for a month. I mean, it's it's broken, and both sides fight so hard that maybe this stalemate allows them to look a little deeper, um, and try to come up with something. But I don't know what that will be.
And based on everything we're talking about this morning, and I'm talking to you to get some clarity, and you're providing as much clarity as you have, which unfortunately, with the situation, isn't much right now.
Right.
Trying to do this on your own this year would is just something you shouldn't do. That's why we talk to people like you, and that's why people need to talk to insurance agents, especially this year. You should probably do it anytime, but especially this year, correct?
Agreed. Yeah, this one is a little wild, and there's, with those other companies, if you're in Fayette County or Chickasaw, you pick the wrong plan, and you can't go to Palmer, or maybe you doctor at WinMed, um, you're not covered. So it's certainly a lot more complicated than it has been, and like we always do, put in our plug. It doesn't cost you more to use an agent than to do it yourself. So. Doesn't have to be us. You just go to somebody to get some guidance.
Anything else we need to know as we talk here on the 5th of November? And I'm sure we'll have at least one or two more conversations through the sign up period here on the Health Insurance Exchange. Anything else we haven't covered this morning in the not even partly cloudy sky of
Yeah,
Health Insurance Exchange this year?
exactly. On a selfish note for our office, where a lot of people are having to make some tough decisions of maybe moving from a gold plan to a bronze plan because the rates went up, $60 a month, 70, and they make that change. And these folks in Washington, I can just see it now, on December 16th, when the marketplace closes, they're going to say, just kidding, we're going to do it for one more year while we hash out a new plan, and then we get to meet with 1,500 people all over again. So that is a concern for our office, and just uh, energy and the ability to help our people. It's quite a process to do this in 45 days, and you really can't do it twice.
All right, make sure you do the Christmas shopping for the kids before that time, or leave it to Amanda. She probably does a better job on that end of things.
There you go.
But
I feel like
Brian,
every day is Christmas at our house. The Amazon truck is always there.
there we go. But nonetheless, Brian, we appreciate you trying to help us navigate through this health insurance exchange here in 2025. We'll probably have you on one or two more times before it's all said and done this year. Hopefully, the folks out in DC can remove their head from a certain area and help
That would
this
be just
situation
any
as
any
well.
sort of
But Go ahead.
Exactly. Any sort of clarity, well, literally one way or the other. It's just the limbo is very difficult for people.
All right. Well, as always, Brian, we appreciate the time and look forward to talking to you one or two more times regarding the health insurance exchange here in 2025.
Thanks, Wentz.
Brian Huinker with Assured Partners in Decorah, talking about the health insurance exchange and the complexities here in 2025. A look at tech to the guest on the program this morning, Mike Kurz with the National Weather Service in La Crosse. Today is Winter Weather Awareness Day in the state of Iowa. We also want to thank Jessica Rilling for joining us. It's a wellness weekend from the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank the folks from the Wolfpack Theater Group. Always fun catching up with those folks. Beetlejuice tonight, Friday night, and Saturday night. Wolfpack Theater Group .lotus.com. And if you come downtown and want to get in, they're going to let you in. There's always going to be seating available the night of. And we also want to thank Brian Huinker from Assured Partners in Decorah. And Brian told us what's going on the health insurance exchange for 2026. And we'll probably have Brian on a time or two more. Hopefully, the things can get worked out in DC and folks can have a little bit more clarity on that end of things. Don't forget, we put these shows on YouTube each and every week. We realize you're busy, a lot of things going on. Can't always be near a radio or a smart speaker at 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning. But we want to bring these interesting, important conversations to you on your schedule. Go to 11:06, our town program. If you're out looking at your cat videos or anything else on YouTube, that's a great way to search it. We also put the links up on all of our Facebook pages as well, because our job is to stay in touch with you, the community, because without you folks, none of this would make sense. Thanks to our sponsor, Decorah Bank and Trust. Again, a thank you to our guest, and thank you, that's right, you, for tuning in, for logging on, or for watching our town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.